up high with a humble heart, knowing Yah is with me. I won't fall apart. The trials will surely come, and hard times, that's for sure. Steadfast in my faith, I'm standing on His word.
Okay, all praises to the Most High Yah. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to yet another broadcast where we will bring you the music of our brothers and sisters who are so musically inclined. Today, we are talking again to our sister who has been here before, Sister NelliYah. Welcome to the show, sis.
Hello, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yes,
Praise
and
God.
we're going to act like we weren't just talking for about 25 minutes. We're going to just be so natural and organic. Yeah. No, we're not. We are going to be what we're called to be, which is
That's right.
We're going to be real. So, I just want to
Keeping
let
it real.
everyone know that, my sister NelliYah, she is so uplifted. We're going to talk about her music in a minute, but she really loves to give Yah the glory. And that's what I like about her. Like, I mean, she just is in a space right now. Yah has brought her to a place where, that is just what her music is about. Now, I don't know, I don't know if you heard her sound before, but we're going to make sure you hear it today. And speaking of which, sis, before we get started, we want to make sure that you let our brethren and sisterin know where they can hear your music.
They can hear my music on all major platforms, and they can also go to streaming major platforms, that is, and they can also go to my website, which is NelliYah.com.
Okay, she's got her website, NelliYah.com. That's NelliYah, NelliYah.com. For those that might be new and never heard before, we just thank you again for joining us. Now, sis, we ask this every time, even if you come back again. How has Torah changed your life?
Wow. It has changed my life because it has put me on the path of truth, righteousness, a closer relationship to the Most High, Yahuwah. It has helped me to understand who Yah is in a better light, if that makes sense. It also removed a lot of tradition out of my life, traditions of men. And it opened up my understanding of where they came from, what those traditions were, how they were rooted in paganism. And then it brought me to the light of his feast days, which I love, Sabbath, all these wonderful cultural events, and that point to him and his coming, his return. It also points to his first coming when he came, obviously, and when he died and rose again. It's just been a wonderful experience, because when you have a heart after Yah, he will point you to his truth, and his truth would indeed set you free. And that's what it's done.
Well, praise Yah for that testimony unto Yah. Now, I know personally that you have children, and, there are some people who are just now coming into what we're calling the truth, and they have children too. Now, like me, my children are a little bit older when I came into the truth. What would you say to people that have children and they are, for lack of a better word, trying to convert their children out of whatever religious system they were in into coming out of those things like, the pagan holidays and all that? What sort of advice could you give them in bringing them out? Because, there's sometimes some resistance. What should they do?
That's a good question. I can just tell you what I did. And I have to say, with children, at least with mine, I know every child is different. Getting them while they're young is actually a lot easier than when they're older. But what I would have you do that with the reasoning behind the what do you call the I just went blank, I'm sorry. Not the holidays, but the feast days and Sabbath and all of those things. Let them know the reason behind it. let them know, have fun events with it. Like for my children, when we were doing Passover, I had them do drawings and colorings, and we made things so they would understand how fun it is. Because what the world does is they make things fun for children, and they have drawings and they have all these things. You can do the same thing for these holidays, for these feast days, and not have to make it a bore or make it where they don't understand what's going on. Let them know that Yah is pleased when we do these things, and that he blesses you when we do these things. And that's what I would just basically say, is make it as fun as possible. Teach them why we do it, and teach them also the truth of why we don't do the pagan holidays. I told my children the truth. I said, listen, it's obviously age appropriately. I let them know what these things mean and what they meant. And mommy didn't know. And now mommy knows. And Yah showing mommy the truth. And I'm going to show you the truth. And I want you guys to follow along and do these things because we love Yahuwah.
That's good. That transition information is good. And I think also to add with that, we should always let our children know that we are not always right. Some parents fail to do that, and they make themselves sort of like a demigod or something like that, like they're never wrong. But, we have been wrong a lot of the times. And I think it's important that we let them know, okay, you know what? I thought I was right by following these ways, but now because we are following the Most High Yah, and we want what it is that he has for us, we know now that those ways were not good, and everything is subject to change. Not our foundation in Yah and how we believe, but as far as what we should be doing and how we do it might change.
Absolutely. And that's what I also let my children know, which is a good thing that you brought that up. I told them, I said, listen, mommy didn't know any better. I didn't know. Mommy is still learning. And mommy will continue to still learn, and not perfect. And even as I'm learning, I may get it wrong, So yes, that is very important, because when the children see that you're not perfect and they understand that you're growing too, it helps them. It helps them to say, oh, okay, Yah is teaching mommy too, and he's teaching me, and we're all growing. Exactly.
Now, I know that a problem can be when the children are going to school, whether it be a private school or the public school system, because the school is celebrating all those things. And I remember back in the day, there was a school that decided not to celebrate any holidays because they didn't want to offend anybody. Now, back then I was a Christian. I was like, that's crazy. They're not celebrating Christmas, but of course, when they were not celebrating Christmas, or when they're celebrating Christmas, I should say, they're lifting up Santa Claus anyway. You know what I'm saying? And we know now that all of those holidays are wicked. So, that was actually a good thing. But I remember growing up that they would celebrate all the holidays. And of course, you'd have all these arts and crafts and different projects surrounding those holidays. And I remember the only one that, we didn't partake in my household was Halloween. But everything else, yes, it was fair game, which is
same
crazy,
here.
because why did we ever do Easter? That's just really nuts. You think about Easter, that's just crazy. But, I remember that. But it's kind of like you said, get them early. Now, our foundation was no Halloween. So when I went to school, I had no issue with that. I knew it was wicked. I knew it was bad. Therefore, I had no challenges there. I didn't desire to dress up into whoever. So it was okay for me. And I think another thing we need to recognize is that children are resilient. It's the parents that are always like, oh, well, they are going to have a problem with this. And it's like, no, you have a problem with that. People want to continue to celebrate this and that because they don't want their children to be left out. Well, you don't want them to be left out of the world, but do you want them to be left out of the kingdom? So you have to be willing to say, wait, I would rather them have a great future in the kingdom versus this temporal future in the world, this temporary thing in the world. So we have to make sure that we, because there are people in the truth that still celebrate these holidays. So
it can be a lot of the times what happens is we allow family and
Yes.
friends to, and I understand that because I was there at one point where you were
Yes.
coming and you just allow them to, you make excuses where I'm just going to be at the family, I don't celebrate it. Then it becomes to, where I don't want to miss out on my family time. But
Right.
what I believe Yah helps us with is understanding is that there's a separation happening in these last days. And with the awakening is going to come that separation, and you have to be okay with that. And if they're truly family members that love you, you can find other times in this year to hang out, to come together and have a meal if it's Yah's will. If it has to be on that particular holiday, you have to ask yourself, okay, what is this really about? You know what I'm saying? And I know the argument also is, but that's the only time most people have days off all at once. And I get that as well. But again, Yah has a way of finding time. We all have a way of finding time to get together outside of holidays. If they really want to get together, is it they really want to get together and hang out? Or is this just a traditional thing that everybody's just so used to? Because if they really love you and they really want to hang out with you, we'll find other times. You'll find other times to get together. And otherwise, it's just, I choose Yah. How about that? And if we just can't, we can't. I had to tell myself, guess what? I just choose Yah. And if we don't, we don't. I'm okay with that.
Right.
Like you said, we have to teach our kids to be set apart. And this is the time to do it. I had to tell myself this. I am definitely not telling anybody something that I did not have to tell myself this. I have to teach my kids how to be set apart now. We can't be like everybody else. What I see with other religions is they go hard for what they believe.
Yes.
And when I realized, really got an understanding of that, I said, wow, look how hard they go. Jehovah's Witness, they don't play. They don't do no holidays, whatever.
No.
So-and-so, whatever, Muslims, whatever religion they come from, they go hard most of the time for what they believe in. But when it comes to us, we always kind of have leeways.
Yes.
And I have to tell myself, no more. I have to show as by example to my children that we must stand for what Yahuwah says. We have to be set apart. He said, I called you out. And that might be a lonely road. You always have Yahuwah with you. It might be a lonely road because you're not going to have a whole bunch of friends and a whole bunch of family members who will understand that road that you're on. Yes. But guess what? That's what Yahushua said. It was a narrow road. Very find it. And I will be lonely and on this narrow road if that's what it means, because he has saved me from a whole lot.
Yes.
And set me free from a lot. And I just want his way. So he strengthened me over time. It didn't happen overnight for me. So if it doesn't happen overnight for the person who might be hearing this interview here, don't beat yourself over it. But what you need to do is go into prayer and fasting and do your research and start asking questions of yourself. Who do I love more? Do I love Yah or do I love my family more? Do I love his way or do I love their way? Do I love his holidays and his festivals or do I love the world's festivals? What am I loving more? Because true obedience does take sacrifice at times. And it might mean and think about it this way, ladies, especially the ladies, when you were in love with that man or whoever you were in love with at that time, you didn't care what nobody thought. You was going to be with that man. You was going to be with him regardless, right? You got to look at Yahuwah in a way where, I don't care what anybody thinks. I love him. He loves me. And I'm going to stand by his side. We gave that type of devotion to the wrong people in our life. Some of us did. And so we need to realize that kind of devotion needs to go to Yahuwah, where we say, I don't care what nobody thinks. I love him. I'm a ride or die for him, for the lack of better terms. You know how we used to say that kind of stupid stuff, but we mean it for Yah. It's for real. I'm riding for him. Okay. Yeah. I will die for him. He's the only one we should ride or die for. And so there you have it.
Oh, well, you know what? I can tell you serious about that talk because, hey, that's real. You are talking truth, sis, because, not just one man. We probably did that for a couple of men.
Okay.
Where do we
it's foolishness. I tell you, thank y'all for deliverance.
Oh my goodness, yes, we rode and died for the wrong folks. So yes, we need to definitely give Yah much more allegiance than we gave these folks.
Yeah, we have to.
Yes, he is the one that we need to be doing all those things for. And, I'm glad that we're having this conversation. It's not just about the music, but we will definitely speak about the music. But we were talking about some real live situations that people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis, because one could be in a marriage and the wife still wants to do holidays, but the husband doesn't, and so it's something that people may need encouragement about. So that's what we are here to do. Yes, the music is important, but we want to provide encouragement. And I like that
Yes.
we're talking about this too, because like for me, my husband is a baker. He's always baking things. Like he baked some kind of peach cake thing today, which is great.
Mm,
But, we still have been doing like a cake on the birthday, and we don't do candles. We don't do anything like that, but we do a cake. So, but I talked to him. I was like, I don't think we should be doing a cake. I really don't think that we should always be looking for ways to come out of her, which is what Revelation says, because if we're not coming out of her, we're looking for ways to get back in, you know what I'm saying? And we don't want to be lukewarm. So I'm like, no, we don't want to do cakes on a birthday. We don't want to do a cupcake. We don't want to do any of that. We can remember and acknowledge and say, praise Yah for this new year that I'm about to embark upon, if it be his will. But, just all these little things that we try to do to basically throw shade at Yah, because we're still doing them. We need to stop. We need to get out of it. So, for me, hey, I am definitely guilty, and I repent of that. Anything that I've done in making my own way and still celebrating, certain things that we shouldn't be celebrating, and you know what we do sometimes too. We look for people who will tell us, oh, that's okay, you can do that, and it's like, no, you don't do that. You better seek Yah, and you need to seek the Holy Spirit and find out what he is saying to you, because that is sin to you. If you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, that is definitely sin. So
that's key. Is just
it's good.
seeking the Most High.
It's good we're talking about these things, because people do them in secret too. But I'm putting myself. We do a cake. We have been doing cake. So no more cake for us.
We did cake too, and I had that conversation with my husband where we're just like, okay, how do we do this? Where do we take this? And with the information that we're learning about certain things like birthdays and holidays, and listen, people just, people automatically think Jehovah's Witness or something like that when they hear it, because you just don't, but they don't understand, like, you're learning about the pagan roots of all of these things. And listen, Yah is a wonderful Alua. He's a wonderful master teacher. He is our savior. He's not trying to take away things so life could be miserable. And I think, when you come into these understandings, you got to make sure you don't look at it that way. There's ways to have fun with your children and acknowledge that they are another year older without having to go the pagan route. And that's what we do. There's just another way that we can acknowledge it and say, listen, we can go out, and for us, we'll say we go out and we'll take you guys out somewhere, and we'll have a good time like we normally do, but we're not going to make anything as far as the cake or the candles or anything like that anymore, because we find out what that symbolized, or we're not going to do this. But I just say always seek the Most High, because he'll lead you on what you should or should not do. And so and everybody has to just kind of go with that.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you now.
Oh, okay. I thought it was something cut off. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're having rain here. We're having rain here in St. Louis, Missouri. We had floods here a couple weeks ago. So anytime we see rain, we're like, uh-oh. But
it's crazy hot where I'm at. It's like 107 degrees. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, we have had that as well. But I think have calmed down, because we're all the way down to the 70s now. So that's a blessing.
Oh, nice.
But now we are having some rain. And like I said, a few weeks ago, we had this crazy record flooding where people have had their houses condemned. Like lots of people have had their houses condemned, and they cannot go back to their homes. So it's just been very crazy, but we pray for those people. That they find Yah in the bad situation. They find Yah there. But yes, back to the holidays and the people and the paganism and just all this different stuff. Like I said, look for ways to slice and dice these ways out of your life, because that is what it is supposed to be. You never arrive in this walk. There's always something Yah is going to remove from you. Either you're going to do it, allow him to do the surgery and remove it, or you're going to suffer the plague or something from not doing it, and he removes these things so that he can replace it and put you in a better situation. And I've seen that time and time again, just here recently, Yah has been working with me with something. And I, like I said, you look for people to tell you something else, and good and well, he told you this. And, you look for this. And then, like, if you are truly discerning, you could say, oh goodness, I can feel like if I don't go ahead and change this like I'm supposed to, it's going to be all bad, So me, I quickly changed. I was like, let me be obedient, let me be obedient, because I know that what happens is, first of all, we have cycles in our life, and we can see these things. If you start writing things down, you can see cycles in your life of where certain things happen, where you weren't obedient. So me, I'm like, oh, no, we're going to stop this cycle right now. So like, I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, let me change it. Let me get rid of it. Let me stop doing it and let me follow Yah. Well, immediately he removes the thing like it needs to be removed and helps me move forward, and then starts blessing me immediately because I was obedient in removing that thing. And, we look at that bit of gratification that we got, but at the same time, you'll see most often later on that had you not done that thing that he told you to do, that so many things that matter would not have happened. You know what I'm saying? Where it looks like, well, it's just a small thing, but no, had you not done this thing, then this wouldn't happen, that wouldn't happen, and this wouldn't happen. And it's like, that is actually life-changing stuff that happens because you are obedient or you're not obedient. So yeah, that was kind of a long-winded thing, but I'd say all that to say, be obedient, get out of those holidays and come out of those pagan ways and seek Yah daily.
Do the research.
Yes.
I would encourage everybody, because you really have to do the research to get it in you to understand why. And once you find out what it's rooted in, it helps you, because you're like, oh, I don't want no part of that. That's crazy, right?
Right.
So we have been stripped away from our true culture, our true way of life. A lot of things been stripped away because of, when we were scattered, because of our disobedience. So we lost a lot of the truth of what are we supposed to be doing. And we have taken on the Roman Greek ways, a lot of their ways and other cultural ways wherever we've been scattered. And so we have to understand that Yah in these last days is purging those things away from us. If you allow him, he'll meet you where you are. He's so merciful. I did not get it right when I learned about it. It was always, I had my excuses for little things. It was like, okay, I'm not going to do it, but I'll still go to the gatherings, or I'm not going to go to and like, Yah was so merciful from me. He really, to me and my family, he really was. So don't beat yourself over the head about it. But what I will say is, when he shows you, because of the times that we're in, when he shows you, do your best to ask him to help you to get rid of it at all costs, because you just don't want to find yourself making excuses over and over, and then you get yourself right back into it. That's what usually happens. You'll find yourself right back into it again because you made so many excuses. Just cut it off. Ask God how to help you. Whatever he has for you always outweighs whatever you gave up. And if you remember that and you know that, you'll be fine. His ways are so much better. His feast days, way more fun, way more involved, way more stuff going on to that than any other holidays these pagans, the pagan way had. We tend to think that we're giving up something and we're losing something. And really, in the cases, you're gaining a lot. You're gaining so much. The meaning behind these feast days, the meaning behind letting go some of the things that had us not only hooked traditionally, but we don't realize spiritually is doing stuff to us and opening doors in our lives. And so we want those doors closed, because we're in a time now where we have to close all these doors that are letting the enemy in our lives in any way, shape, or form to keep us safe. Okay, let's put the blood over the mantle here. Let's make over the doorpost here. Like, we need to make sure we are covered and not letting any entry for the enemy in order to be protected during this time. Because I'm telling you, judgment is here and judgment is coming. And we have to be totally covered under his wings and in his protection. And the only way to do that is under obedience to him.
You said a lot, sis. That is definitely true. Our goal is to be obedient to him, not obedient to old ways that we learned, whatever grandma taught us, the church people, or whoever. We need to be obedient to him.
Yeah. And I'm asking for his help every day. I don't have it all together. I'm like you said, ever learning, right? Ever trying to wash that stuff away, because this is generation of stuff. This is not like, this is stuff embedded in our lives that sometimes we don't even realize until Yah points it out and we hear and we're like, oh, I didn't even realize I was, didn't
realize I was crazy.
I didn't realize. I didn't know. okay. And then sometimes you still make excuses. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to show you again because I'm merciful. Okay, I'm going to send this confirmation. And then you're like, okay, I hear you. Let me
Yes.
let this go.
Yes, absolutely. And it's so wonderful how he does it. He does it in such a way that you can't help but to pay attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and that's what
Yes, he
I love
does.
about Yah, because he is better than any parent that you could ever wish that you had. You know, 'cause people do that. They still wish
Yes.
they had certain kind of parents and grandparents. But if you just
Yeah.
take a step back, you'll realize that Yah has always been there as your parent. That's why you're
Yes, he
here today,
has.
you know? So
Yes.
yeah, that's very important for us to recognize what it is that he has us to do. He is loving and kind and merciful, and he
Yes.
embodies all of the fruit of the spirit, the whole thing, which is what we
Mm-hmm.
need to be as well.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes, yes. So let's get into the music. Now, you got a whole album that you released, and I was like,
Yay.
oh, you go, sis. My goodness. I was like
Oh,
listening to it and just you just get kind of hooked on it.
oh,
And
praise y'all.
that's just reality. You can't help it when somebody is truly praising the Father, because I think we might have talked about this just in our regular conversations, but we look for that music that is going to glorify Yah, of course, foundationally. But sometimes you can get caught up in some other stuff in music. And this is something that I am studying right now for myself, not even as a whole, but foundationally. Like, what is this music doing? What is it that I enjoy about the music? And I can honestly say, concerning your album, it is something that people can definitely sit, listen, resonate, meditate on the things of Yah, and just be blessed by the message that has
Praise
come through,
Father.
because you can tell that you had the Ruach, or the Holy Spirit, with you as you were writing this music. And
Mm.
I mean, just even listening to the hooks, I'm like, oh, listen to that. I mean, it's just you have such a great sound, and I'm not
Oh,
trying to whatever, I'm not doing it. It's such a good sound, and it is truly you giving praises to Yah. And
yes.
with that being said, like at the end of this interview, we're going to play the featured song, which is Victory, which is like my favorite song, which is the song that
Hey.
you can hear at the beginning of all of these broadcasts,
Oh,
basically.
praise y'all.
um,
Yes.
as pertaining to my YouTube channel. So yes, we are definitely grateful for you. So we've got Victory, and we're going to also talk about Wisdom, and then we're also going to talk about, you got the children to sing. So yeah, that was great too. So talk to us about Victory, how you came into the lyrics for that song. What were you going through in that time? Speak to us about that song.
Victory was actually written quite a few years ago.
Mm,
And when I heard the music, it was like, okay, this song, but it just came to me. It really just came to me. The chorus did. And sometimes that happens where the chorus will come to you, and then you have to sit down and actually write to the chorus or what you're going to say. But the music is what made me kind of go, this is definitely about a song that's encouraging, letting you know that you have the victory, letting you know that you can do all things, right? Through Mashiach, who strengthens us.
mm-hmm,
It was just something where I felt to sing an encouraging song. When I first wrote that song, there were certain words that I still use that I had to go back and re-record.
mm,
So that's how long it was, like quite a few years. I want to say almost 4 years ago. I can't remember, but so I had to go in there and kind of re-record some things just to change. Because as I was learning, forever learning, back to that, as I
mm-hmm,
was learning certain words and learning things and the history of certain things, I said, you know what, I'm going to change it to this. I'm going to change it to that. But I loved the song because it was fast paced, it was
mm-hmm,
encouraging, and I just
mm-hmm.
wanted something to bless people. So that's
Yes. Well,
basically what it was. Yah, and I always pray, and I was asked Yah to show me what to write with the certain music that I hear, and that's what he gave me. This all esteem truly is to Yah. It really is. I
yes.
don't know what I'm doing without him. He's given me this passion for music, to want to sing, to write since I was little. And he has
Uh-huh.
now opened the door for me to be able to do it. And he did it at the right time, honestly, because I'm in the understanding of what I know now that helps me
Uh-huh.
to make it in the right path when I sing. And so he truly gives me the lyrics, and it's always rooted and grounded in his word. So yeah, he just gave me victory and I wrote it and there we have it.
Well, you know what's amazing to me? Relevant music to Yah is always relevant music to Yah. It never gets outdated. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
You
that's
wrote this
right.
4 years ago. I feel like you wrote it yesterday because I'm telling you, like I like it when you say, "I won't fall apart," because
Yes.
that's what happens. Like we have situations come upon us, and oftentimes we do fall apart. You know, we succumb to some kind of strange depression or whatever. We
Hmm.
don't learn that, hey, you don't have to fall apart because Yah has got you. If you're in him, he's got you. You don't need to go through all that emotional breakdown. That's
Yes.
childish stuff. You don't need to do that. So
Yeah.
I mean, I got to tell you that song, I play it as soon as I drive away from my house. I mean, yes,
Hallelujah.
yes. First we pray before we drive off anywhere we're going. But when I'm leaving in the morning, I play
Yes.
that song because we have to be reminded before things come, before Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy. We have to be encouraged and enriched before that happens, because then we know, whoop, soon as it comes, punch it in the head. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's
Like
right. And that's what
don't
it's
even deal
about.
with it. Yeah, don't
Yes,
even deal with
encourage
it.
you.
Mm-mm,
You
don't
have the
even,
victory regardless of what's going on. And one of the
regardless.
things I'm forever watching, as you know, I'm an end time watcher. I'm watching what's going on in the world. I see what's
Yes,
happening. And so well, that's always in the forefront of my mind as well. So as I was writing that song, I do remember thinking to myself, we have the victory regardless of what's happening, right? We know bad
yes,
times come. We know these things happen in life, but we have to remember that we have the victory through Yahusha. We have the victory. We don't have to allow these things to overtake us. We got to keep the faith that he
yes,
is our protector.
yes.
Watch and pray, he says. So we still watch. Now don't put your hand in this, don't put your head in the sand. Watch,
No,
but
yes,
pray and
yes.
understand that so we know the enemy's tactics. We don't want to be, foolish and not understand what's happening. But at the same time, don't allow those things to overtake us and we feel like, oh, what are we going to do? And, so we just got to, and that's easier said than done sometimes. I get it. And we all have our moments. If you got to cry that thing out, something bad's happening in your life, you got to cry that thing out, take that moment, but don't remain in that moment. and
Yes,
and and pray about it and understand that he will be there for you, and you do have the victory. It's already said and done. The story of yours has already been written.
yes.
And
No
if
matter
you are,
what it looks like.
yes, no matter what it looks like, and if you are a child of the light, if you're his, your
Hmm.
story is already said that you are a winner. You already
Yes,
are victorious.
yes, yes. And
So
that's
we
why
don't have to worry.
we must stay in him, because that is where the victory comes. It is not by our own might, but it is through
No.
him and by the way of the blood of Yahusha that we do have the victory over these things, because no
Yes.
matter what happens and what it looks like, it is important that we know the glory is to go back to Yah, because he's working these things out. Now, let me just clarify, this ain't no Christian message. This is not that thing, this is not that. This is a true message of the power of Yah,
Yeah,
because he can bring us
absolutely.
out of all of these things, and just even the mindset that you have about what it is that you're going through. Like, you need
Hmm.
rescuing from the mindset of about, the things that you're going through in your life, because the world will say, oh, look at the glass half full. No, you need to fully look at Yah. That's what you need to look at, because
That's
he's the
good.
one that can deliver you from all hurt, harm, and danger, including your mindset.
Yes.
Because a mindset can lead you here, there, everywhere, and then suicide. But
It
if you
sure
are
can.
rescued by way of Yahusha, he can give you the victory over all these things.
Yes, and he
And we
will.
have
He
to we
really
have to be
will.
mindful of that. As long as you're in him. Like I said, this ain't no Christianese message where you could be out there doing whatever you want to do and unrepentant. No, in him, that is where you will be rescued from this, and you will have
Yes.
victory.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
So let's get
Amen.
to the next song, which is Wisdom. Wisdom. That's another good one. Talk to us about the creation of wisdom.
Again, a lot of times when I hear the music, I immediately can either come with the chorus or I come with the verse, something that just moves me. And that's what came to me with that song, was with that music, was wisdom. And the chorus came to mind. I believe the chorus came first with that one as well. And with that, I was able just to write, and everything in that song is all word based. So this is all esteemed to Yahusha because those are his words.
Yes.
And he guided me to sing it in that way. And it's all him. I really can't take any credit. He pointed me to the scriptures to use. He pointed me on the melody. He pointed me in all of it. And I was able to put that together. Wisdom is so important, and especially today. And I wanted that song to hopefully really, and I'm hoping all my songs really penetrate the spirit, really go in deep and causes people to pray and ask and seek the Most High for victory, for wisdom, for him, for his understanding, causes them to repent, causes them to want to know him deeper, want them to worship. All of my songs that I've sung, I really had that in mind. And so I would pray before I do it, pray before I went into the booth, pray even after, before I even released it, asking for the anointing, the Most High to be on that music, because I really wanted people to see Yahusha, you see Yahuwah, not see me, but see him through the music. I just want to be a vessel at the end of the day. So when I was doing wisdom, yes, that was just something that I wanted to sing about, because wisdom is so important, especially now. And a lot of people are lacking. I'm not saying I got it all together, but a lot of people these days are lacking that wisdom, and we need wisdom in all things. So I'm consistently praying for wisdom, and that's where it came from.
Well, I think people, you're not wrong. People are lacking the desire for wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Because the Bible is very descriptive on what wisdom is. It describes wisdom as like a female, and she's at your right hand and that sort of thing, And I remember when I first discovered that, it kind of brought me to tears. I was like, oh my goodness, I need her, And people don't realize, because they are going off of their own understanding, and they think that they're wise, and they're actually not wise. They're actually kind of stupid, to be honest. And that's truth. Like, I'm not going to muffle that or muzzle it. Yeah, people are just really living stupid lives without wisdom, because without wisdom, you are just headed for death, period.
Yes.
Absolutely. So we definitely need wisdom at our right.
You have the parable of that with the wise brides and wise virgins, and the foolish virgins, right?
Yes.
So, we want to be part of the wise.
Yeah, because they're trying to come get your oil and all that. Don't let them come get your oil.
Don't let them come. Make sure you got that. Make sure you got your oil, and make sure you got some extra.
Yes.
And because they all had white on, right? So that lets us know all the virgins were believers. They had white on, so that usually means purity of some sort. They were virgins, but there were 5 that were wise. So that parable to me really gives me tingles, like, oh my gosh, I really have to be on point, because you'll feel like, oh, well, I'm living right, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm living a pure life, but do you have wisdom?
Yes.
Do you have wisdom?
Yes.
Because the wise ones had that extra oil. And so I consistently pray, Father, I pray that I have my oil lamps filled and I have extra, that I am ready to go down that road and meet you at the door when you come, and that I have the lights that I can be able to see through the dark, the path to you.
Yes.
And that's what it's showing us, is that we're going to need that extra oil, especially as times are getting darker and darker. We're going to need that extra oil to keep us on the straight path, on the right path, and not go frantic and go back to the world or go back in the wrong direction, because we can't see our way to him. When things get really crazy, we have to be able to have that sustaining, the Ruach HaKodesh, his Holy Spirit with us, guiding us to him and through whatever dark times may be coming. And that's how I look at it. So yes, wisdom is so important. And I pray that song really, puts in people's heart to pray for wisdom, because it's worth more than silver and gold. It's
that's
more valuable than rubies.
That's true. And sometimes people feel wise because they have been able to simply look things up on the internet and all of that stuff, but that is not wisdom. Yes, Yah can use these things, these devices and things, but
Yeah.
you truly have to sit with him to get the true wisdom that he wants to impart into you. Don't think just because you can Google something, or even that you've talked with somebody, like he wants to give you wisdom for yourself. So you have to be willing to receive that. If you're not, then you are still lacking wisdom. So yeah, that's super true. Now,
we all need it.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I don't believe in paying for stuff, but just just so like I could really get a proper lineup and everything, I did go ahead and get the Apple Music, so that I could listen to everything. I mean, I know it's free and all, but I did, do that. And you have a lot of songs. If you just type your name into the Apple Music, you have quite a few songs here on Apple Music, and I hope that everyone listening will go ahead and support and be edified by the music that you are offering. Now, what we also want to talk about lastly is the song with the children. Talk to us about that. It's called Children's Melody. Go ahead and tell us about that.
Yeah, my daughter Imani, my son Elijah, I wanted them to be on the album. And so I had that melody that I had actually came up with quite a while ago, and I just would sing it with them. And I said, you know what, this would be good if we sang this on the album. I can have them on the album with me. They love music too, and they've been playing piano recently. And so I thought, well, this would be nice. My son actually came up with the piano melody, which was amazing. But we didn't have enough time to get that all together, and I wanted to get this album out because believe me, there were some some trials that test are right for this album for real. Like it was a rough one trying to get this out. And so I was like, okay, listen, we'll just go ahead and do it a cappella and just get it out there. But yes, I just wanted my babies on the album, and I wanted them to be able to look back and have that memory and just encourage them that whatever, if any music they want to do or anything they have in life, Mama's got you. I'm here. I'm gonna support you, and they support me. And I just wanted them to be on that. I also wanted, if any children were listening to the album, they can hear children, and then they would also be able to, kind of be able to hear the album and see themselves in it too, and be like, oh, there's kids in there, So. But yeah, I just wanted them to be on there with their mommy.
Yes, that is very important. And I think that that's also a good component to you homeschooling, because, I'm always going to talk about homeschooling because our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, of course. And when I say that, I'm talking about the destruction that happens in school systems. I'm talking about all of it: public school, private school, Christian school, parochial school, college, all of it. The damage that happens to children in their early learning years. Like, we need to be wise about that. But I like what you're doing with your children. You've been able to really recognize one of their gifts in playing music, and not just because you're in music, but they have kind of discovered it for themselves with the piano. Because you said, hey, I don't play the piano, but these kids are good, So I really like that you've been able to really support them and what it is that they are doing individually concerning music, because I believe, later you all will be doing some great collaborations.
Oh, I pray we do. I would love that. I would love that.
Yes. I think that it's all good, and praise Yah for you getting them early, sister. I mean, I think that that's such a wonderful thing. But is there
thank you for your encouragement too regarding the album. That warms my heart. I'm just so excited. I'm glad that it's well received. I got some really great testimonies as well. And I just say, thank you, Yah. It's an honor and a privilege to be used by Yah in any capacity, especially in a way that he's put a passion in your heart. So to be able to do that unto Yah and it bless other people, nothing like it in the world. Just excited.
Yeah, well, I mean, goodness, you just answered my question. I was like, do you have anything to share with the people before we go? Well, you just did. You shared it with the brothers and sisters before we go. And that is an encouragement that we all love. We need it every day because we are going through some strange times right now. There are people that are going through things that they're not speaking about. And we hope that this show is encouraging to you all, because we know that we are edified in our spirits by having good music that promotes the Father. So we hope that you're able to download NelliYah's music and listen to it. Sister, tell them again where they can hear you.
They can hear me on NelliYah.com. That's NelliYah.com. And I'm also available on all major streaming platforms. And I'm on Instagram, NelliYah Music. So you can follow me on Instagram as well. And yeah, just come take a listen. I know this album will bless you. I know it will. And I pray that it does. So yes, thank you.
Yes, take a listen. And you other artists out there that want to do some collaborations, I'm pretty sure that she is open to that as well. She's done one collaboration with NelliYah
Yes.
that is on this album, I believe.
Yes, she's my sister. That is a lyricist right there. She's awesome.
Yes. So you all take a listen to that, download her music, and definitely support. But we want to make sure that we get our scripture in, which is Philippians 4:8, the King James Version. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. I'm Sister SiSi. Thank you so much for joining us, brothers and sisters. We hope to be with you again very soon, and have a blessed rest of the week.